lovely friends, my name is Sari Steam and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing two more looks with the new E.L.F Mint Collection. I'm going to be using both of the quads and a few of the other products, and then at the end I'll give you my final thoughts and a review. So if that sounds interesting, just keep watching. Welcome back. Now that I have you zoomed in, we're going to do our first of today's looks. I think I'm going to do a little bit of a reverse smoky eye and use some of these darker colors. So I'm going to start with the mint chocolate quad that looks like this, and I'm going to start with this lighter brown. I'm just going to put that on a blending brush. I like this M506 from Morphe because it's fluffy, but it is a little bit tapered as well, so it gives me a little bit more control. And I'm actually just going to start with that right in the inner corner. And I'm just going to kind of put this everywhere in the front half of my crease, but I'm going to let it kind of blend out on the edges. A little bit like that. And I'm just going to take that a little bit on my lower lash line as well. Again, keeping that concentrated in the front half. Then I'm going to take this little packing brush. This one is a Luxie 710 shader brush, and I'm going to go into the darker brown, which is here, and I'm just going to put that right up against my lid in the front portion. I'm going to go in really slow with this one. When I used this in my first impressions, it didn't blend out as well as I'd like to see it, so I'm just going to build it up slow to keep it from getting out of hand. And again, I'm just going to let that kind of taper off as it goes towards my outer lid. I'm going to switch back to my blending brush with the first color, the lighter brown matte, and just blend that out a little bit. I'm going to dip into that darker color with my blending brush just a little bit as well. Just to make sure that transition between the two colors is nice and smooth. Alright, and then I'm just going to go in with a large fluffy blip brush. This is a Scone blending brush. I think I got this in a Ipsy bag years ago. And again, I'm just going to dump into that lighter brown, and I'm just going to go back in and just blend it out a little bit and just make sure everything is nice and smooth. I'm going to go both over and under. A little bit like that. And then just to add a little bit of interest to this look, I'm going to go back into the Mint to Be quad, and I'm going to take this lighter mint that has, it looks like it has a little bit of a shift to it, but we'll see once we get it on the eye, and I'm going to put that heavily in my inner corner. And to do that, I'm just going to use this Luxie 111, which is kind of a pencil brush, but it's got this little angle in it to help me get right where I want to go. I'm going to try this first without any glitter primer just to see how intense we can get it, and if we need to, we can go back in with primer after. And yeah, I can definitely see we're going to need that. So I'm going to pull out my NYX glitter primer, and I'm just going to put that in my inner corner. I'm going to use the same brush. And I'm just going to put that, like I said, very heavily concentrated here in that inner corner. With that same tacky brush, I'm going to go back into that minty color. It's picking up much better now, and I'm going to go back in to my inner corner and kind of blow that out. See? And then we've got a little bit more interest in that inner corner. I'm going to go a little bit further in as well and bring it to my lower lash line, a little bit like that. I'm going to go in one more time with my original blending brush, the smaller one, and I'm just going to go into that light brown matte one more time, just to make sure that is blended into the brown. I'm going to especially take this under my lower lash line. I'm going to go in a little bit more with that darker brown. I'm just going to use that little brush again and just darken it up just a little bit in that inner corner for the reverse smoky eye. A little bit like that. Alright, and then I'm going to go on and catch up the other eye. I'm going to put on my mascara liner and something on my lips, and I'll be back to share the final look. So just keep watching. Welcome back. Here's the finished look for look 1. I finished off using a little bit of KVD liquid liner in the Mad Max Brown. I also finished off with a little bit of lip liner and the Mint Sprinkle Plumping Gloss. I'm really liking that. So here's our first look with the reverse smoky eye. I think I have gotten a lot of diversity from these two little quads, so I'm now going to go ahead and go into our second look. Welcome back again. We're going to give it one more try with these little mint quads. I'm going to also try to use the No Budge shadow stick. So I'm going to go really simple this time since I really am having some issues with trying to get these shadows to perform. I'm going to put on my primer potion from Urban Decay. Just all over my lid. I'm not going to set it because I don't prefer to do that. I'm just going to pat that out gently. Okay, and I'm going to go a little bit more simple this time since I am having trouble with the performance on these shadows. I'm going to take the lighter brown from the Mint Chocolate palette since that one does seem to perform a little bit better overall. I had less issues with these shades than with the lighter one, which was the Mint to Be. So I'm just going to put this, I'm actually going to start on my lower lash line. Like that. This is going to be a pretty simple look, so I'm just going to do both eyes on camera. And I really just want a grungy, blown out lower lash line. Like that. Now I'm going to take the darker chocolate brown and I'm just going to mix that right up against my lower lashes. And just blend that out with a little bit more of the lighter brown as well. Okay, I'm going to take just a little bit of the dark chocolate brown and put it in my outer corner on the top lid. I'm going to be really careful with this. It doesn't really like to blend out. So I'm just going to go in with a very light hand. Like that. The color does have a lot of depth to it. It just doesn't like to blend as well as I'd like to see a dark color. A little bit like that. I am going to go in with just a clean blending brush with nothing on it, and I'm just going to go over that to try to soften up those edges a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go back in one more time to the lighter matte mint color in the Mint to Be palette. This one does perform the best out of this palette. And I'm just going to give it a very light wash on the front of my crease. Just so we have a little bit of color there. And then I'm going to go back into the mint chocolate in the lighter brown, and I'm going to do the outer part of my crease. A little out of order from how I would normally do it. Just trying to use the colors I know work out of these palettes. I'm going to try to blend these two together with a really light hand. I don't want it to get muddy. I just want them to kind of mush together a little bit. I'm also going to blend into that darker brown in the outer corner. No additional product. Okay, a little bit like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is take the No Budge shadow stick in Mint Melt. Lean in a little bit. And this is very soft, so I'm just going to smear it in, and then I'm going to go in with my brush to kind of finesse it. And I think I'm just going to use my Morphe M508 again. I'm just going to clean it off a little bit. And just kind of use that to finesse that just a little bit. Then I'm going to go back into the lighter brown, and I'm just going to use that as a transition shade in between the two. Again, I'm getting some patchiness in this outer corner where that darker brown is. Just kind of going back and forth between the shades. I'm going to try to use a tiny bit of this lightest mint shimmer and put it right over that shadow stick. Hopefully that shadow stick will give it enough of a base to make it pop. So that shimmer works really well over that light shadow stick. like that. So this does look a lot like my first impressions look, but like I said, I am having a very difficult time with this palette and its performance. I'm going to go back into this lightest mint shade again and just do some blending. I'm also going to go back into this lightest brown. And just kind of blend that outer corner one more time. And I'm going to just go into my biggest blending brush, no additional product, and I'm just going to go with light pressure around the edges just to kind of mesh that and blend it into my skin. Alright, so this is what our eyeshadow looks like after this. I'm going to go off camera, put on some mascara, and finish off my face, and I'll be back with my final thoughts. Hello! And here's our final look using the E.L.F quads from the Mint to Be collection, and I also use the No Budge shadow stick. So my final thoughts. I have some thoughts. These quads are super cute, and I really wanted to love them. But I did have quite a bit of difficulty, in particular with the lighter one, the Mint to Be quad. This beautiful turquoisey shimmer, it actually did get hard pan after my first impressions and the first time that I used it, and really doesn't want to perform after that. This lighter green was okay, and this pastel mint was pretty good. This matte, I like it. It does fade a little bit through the day with wearing. On the darker green, this color was not true to the color in the pan. It was very, very light and sheer, and I did have a lot of issues with it being patchy and just not consistent. So overall, this Mint to Be quad, I really am not a fan of this one. The mint chocolate one did perform a little bit better. The dark brown shade was a little bit difficult to blend, but if you really work at it, you can make it work for you. The light brown was totally fine. I used that one I think the most in all my looks. The peachy shimmer worked really well, and this light mint color actually performed really well. So overall, the chocolate mint one worked pretty good for me. I did use the No Budge shadow stick. This one, it's a little bit soft. It's not very precise, but it did make a really good base for the lighter mint in the mint chocolate shade. It would probably work well if you did a one and done look and just kind of smeared it on your lid and blended it out. So it's okay. It's not bad. Nothing super special. The glosses, I really enjoy this sprinkle shade. It's very sparkly. It's got a little bit of a mint undertone, and the brown was very glossy and bright, so I liked that as well. I paired a lot of my looks with the LA Girl Fresh Shock Pencil. It's a really good pencil. But overall in the collection, I gotta say I wasn't really a fan of it. There were a lot of inconsistencies with the performance. I think the colors are beautiful, but I think that just if I'm reaching for something, these would not be what I'm gonna reach for. I did pull out my ColourPop Mandalorian and the Child palette. This has a lot of similar shades to the Mint to Be collection, and it just performs so much better. So honestly, if you're looking for this, it's a little bit more green than the Mint to Be collection, but it does perform pretty consistently, and it is a little bit more versatile. So with this one, I would suggest just going back to the ColourPop The Child palette. But if you are going to pick one of these up, I would say the Mint Chocolate did perform pretty well. So overall, those are my thoughts on this collection. Let me know what you think. Did you pick it up? Are you waiting for it? Did you have a better experience with it? Because I really wanted to love, in particular, this darker mint shade. and it just wasn't it for me. So overall, those are my thoughts, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe below.